Jackson College, professor of biology, and published author, Dr. Curtis Blankespoor.
Well, hello,
morning.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, excited to have you here. And we're going to get to talk about one of Bart's favorite subjects, swimmer's itch.
You know, we would go to Crystal Lake up north,
Absolutely.
and when I found out that there was swimmer's itch in it, I would never go in it again. I don't want
I have
it.
a question. What is swimmer's itch?
So swimmer's itch is a dermatitis that's caused by a parasitic infection. And when you swim in the water or use the recreational use of the lake, the parasite doesn't know that you're a human and wants to get into a duck, but accidentally ends up penetrating humans, and you get this reaction.
Oh,
under
good
your
Lord.
skin.
So
You've had it?
No, this is what it looks like.
Did you get swimmer's itch when you were researching this?
So yes, it's kind of something that if you're working on this, you
Right.
get a badge of honor. But we do some things like scuba dive and wear some equipment that prevents us from contact. But about 30% of the people don't get swimmer's itch because it's an allergic reaction.
Okay.
It's immune response, right? So you might have been one of the fortunate ones. But we're used to working in lakes where kids come in, the grandparents visit, have their kids come in, and the kids don't want to get in the water because of the itch that they've gotten.
So a couple weeks ago, you received word, and you shared with JC President Dr. Dan Phelan that you've been accepted. You had a publication about swimmer's itch, accepted for publication in a prestigious scientific journal.
Yes, it's about a 7-year study that we aimed pretty high when we got it all together. It's the Public Library of Science, and they have a lot of different journals, but they're combine all the important big stuff into their pinnacle journal, which is PLOS One. And we were fortunate enough to submit that paper, and it was accepted for publication recently. So we're really proud of that, and it represents about 7 years of work on this in this area.
What a high honor, and long time working on this. What led you to begin this work?
So I grew up in Ann Arbor. My dad was a University of Michigan faculty member, and he worked on a human version of this that occurs in parts of the world. And then he used the swimmer's itch model in Michigan because it's a very common dermatitis in the state of Michigan. The University of Michigan has a biostation up in Pellston, and he taught there. I was a student there and TA there, and that kind of got me started. I spent a little bit of time trying to figure out, is this something I really wanted to do, or am I just simply carrying on? Like I'm sure you have thought about, am I going to do this because I like it, or it's because it's a family thing? So that's what got me started. I went to grad school and wanted to teach.
That's cool. So ducks. We should watch out for ducks.
Yeah, the ducks are the innocent victims. The parasite is usually carried by a duck, and then it goes to a snail, and it goes back to a duck. So you can't get the parasite from ducks.
Okay.
But if you take the ducks and move them to another lake that doesn't have the right snail, you solve the problem on Crystal Lake, but you're not moving the problem to somewhere else because the snail is not present for the parasite to continue its life cycle. So here's a video of us releasing the ducks that we captured from Crystal Lake, ironically. This is a brood from Crystal Lake.
Oh, really?
So,
Wow. So you can't spray, and there's nothing you can do to the lake itself.
So there are some, conventionally, only option is to treat the lakes with copper sulfate, right? The copper sulfate doesn't go after the parasite in the duck, it goes after the parasite in the snails. But that's like carpet bombing a small area. It kills a lot of innocent victims, and most of the snails aren't infected. So.
Now your shirt, when you ordered your shirt, did you choose the swimmer's itch pattern? Because it does have, it looks like
That's a
looks
little
like-
swimmer's itch. I
it
like
looks like
that.
it.
I love
yeah.
that.
No,
It's pretty much blotchy. It's the color. It's pretty much.
I like it.
it's not something pleasant to have. It lasts
And
for
you've
about
had
7
it.
days. I
Oh,
have.
7 days. Wow.
7 days, intense inching.
Did
So-
you get it and think, I am going to research the heck out of this thing?
It's an interesting problem because it's not an invasive species, so there's not a lot of funding. If it were an invasive species, we'd have a lot of opportunities. And it's not considered a human health issue because it doesn't cause long-term disease, but there are people who have gone to the hospital and gone into shock because of the intense itching. So it's kind of in between, and in that sense, it's an orphan.
You look at Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota. I mean, lakes and lakes and lakes and lakes. Is it a more regional issue?
Yeah, so swimmer's itch is the common name that we call it, but if you're out in the south, sometimes they call it clam digger's itch, if you're on the ocean. There are about 20 different parasites that cause
wow.
the dermatitis, and each one is unique to a geographical area. And Michigan, Wisconsin, and Minnesota are the hotbed for
You're going to have an opportunity to potentially employ a research student based on this.
We have everything ready to go in Wisconsin. We're waiting for the permits from their Department of Natural Resources. We have federal permits and Michigan permits, but in Wisconsin, you need Wisconsin permits.
Curtis, what does this say about the quality of faculty at Jackson College to have research like this published in such a prestigious journal?
Great question. Usually you think about breaking cutting edge scientific research and it's done at the big places like Michigan State, University of Michigan. But Jackson College has allowed and encouraged me to continue my work in the summer. And to publish a journal of this magnitude, having my primary responsibility at community college is very unusual. But the journal is interested in the science, not where you happen to be employed. So it is a little bit of a feather in Jackson College's hat. And I'm very thankful for Dr. Phelan and his support of this. We at Jackson College do a lot of teaching, and if you're going to teach culinary science, you got to show that you can cook in the kitchen, right, once in a while. And so this is my way of getting street cred. I'm doing cutting scientific research, but then teaching those results and others to my students.
It's amazing hearing all of the stories from professors with a similar story about Dr. Phelan encouraging outside of the classroom, big picture stuff. It's very cool seeing what's going on out at Jackson College.
And it's something everyone can relate to
Yeah.
in Michigan. We all know about it. Many people have had it. It's here in Jackson County. Well, we appreciate the work you're doing. And
Well, thanks for having me, and thanks to Dr. Phelan and all of Jackson College who've been very supportive of this.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you.
yeah, I think you're from Iowa?
Originally born and bred in Iowa.
Same with Dr. Phelan, where there is
Yeah.
no swimmer's itch.
It's not very common. There's no lakes in Iowa except for a few. So
Well, we appreciate you coming in today. From Jackson College, Professor of Biology, Dr. Curtis Blankespoor. We've got more coming up next. Robotics. Stay tuned.